Hello and welcome. My name is Brenda. My channel is Handwork Maniac. And today is Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. Okay, I have lots of things to show you today. We're going to look at, I have a little bit of business and some stitchy kindness. And my first cross stitch that I was going to show you. I have 3 fully finished objects. I have 3 other finishes. I have 3 new starts and 6 other projects that I worked on besides those to show you. And then some things that I purchased and stuff that I got at the Crazy Women Stitching Retreat in Casper, Wyoming in September. And I will tell you about that at the end. All right. Business and stitchy kindness. Let's start with my first cross stitch. I've showed you the pattern several times, but I actually took it right off my parents' wall yesterday when I was over there and brought it so I could actually show it to you. I was a senior in high school in 1983. Yes, that tells you how old I am. I lived in a very small town in Utah called Vernal. I had grown up in Roosevelt, and then 2 years later, 2 years earlier, we had moved to Vernal, which is just 30 miles away. But I was in a store in Roosevelt that day and saw this pattern book. It was a whole book by Gloria and Pat called, oh, I've showed it before. Something of Stitching Through the Seasons or something. Can't remember. And I picked, and it looked interesting. I knew how to embroider. I had crochet, knit. I did lots of handwork, but I hadn't ever done counter cross stitch before. And I thought, oh, this looks fun. And it had 12 patterns in it. And I just picked this one. I think this was the first one for January, I think. It called for DMC floss, but that store, it was an old, it wasn't Sprouse Rights. What was it? Christensen's. It was an old Christensen store, that kind of variety store that sold everything. Hardware plus crafts plus, you know, like well, no, not a 5 and dime store. A variety store. In a very small town. So they didn't have DMC floss. They had J.P. Coates floss was all they had. So I just read the description of each color, you know, light brown, medium brown, dark brown, light pink, peach. And I just chose colors that sounded like what it was calling for. And you can tell some of those colors don't go together very well, but my mother cherishes it. When I finished it, she helped me get it framed in Vernal, and then she hung it on her wall, and she's had it on her wall ever since. Pretty amazing. I learned, which side is it? This side, right here. I was crossing all my X's one way, and then right here started crossing them the other way. And you can tell that it looks like 2 different colors, but it's the same color. So that was when I learned about staying consistent and crossing your X's all the same direction. But that was fun. I've done one more from that book, the one where they're on the beach, and that hangs at my parents' little cabin up at Bear Lake. Okay, where am I going to put the... All right. I told you last time about this Stitch Along with Historical Sampler Company in the UK called the Robin Christmas Patchwork Stitch Along. They also have a Advent box that you could purchase with this Stitch Along. So you may have, and they're all sold out of the Advent boxes, but you can still participate in this Stitch Along and purchase this pattern on their website. This is just a sneak peek. It's a mystery. We don't know what the rest of it looks like. If you had previously purchased fabric and floss from them, they mailed those out on September 23rd, and I got mine 7 days later in the mail. They sent me fabric and floss to stitch it, which was very nice of them. Sent that to me just for free. You can get it in linen or Aida. It'll come out in 4 parts starting on October 14th. You'll get the first part in your email. And on September 23rd, if you had already signed up, they sent you a list of floss and fabric that you would need to buy if you didn't want to buy it from them. So if you joined right now and purchased the pattern, they would send you the floss and fabric that you need. It's DMC and how big it is and everything. It'll come out every 2 weeks. So October 14th, October 28th, November 11th, and 25th of November. And this is the envelope I got in the mail. And it had this beautiful custom dyed fabric they have from Zweigart. I chose linen. It's 32 count. And then these are how the floss came on this floss card. I haven't unwrapped it yet because there's a needle stuck in there and I don't want to lose it. So I'll be excited to start that on October 14th. That's my plan. Last video, I told you about the retreat I went to in Boise, the end of July, I believe. I think that was the retreat. And I showed you all the wonderful things that people gave me. So many wonderful gifts. Thank you. But I just wanted to show you again this little pouch. It's made by Show Me Designs. SHOMEE Designs. She gave this to me, left it on the table for me. But it's a vinyl pocket on one side. But it opens up and it's a thread bed on the inside with a piece of felt to put needles in and a little loop in case you want to hook scissors to it, or you could put your floss ring on there and then snap it up, and then it's just plain on the back, but the front has that pocket with a zipper. I just thought that was so cute. I wanted to show it to you. All right, I had some stitchy kindness from my wonderful friend Susan. She is so nice, and she sent me a retirement package. Thank you, Susan. She sent me this beautiful card. When I read the inside, I cried. She sent me another note with it that also made me cry. And then when I opened up what was inside, then I squealed. She sent me a pattern of Alaska that she ran across. Thought maybe I would love it, and I do. It's by Meredith Mark Designs, called Alaska Sampler. I think it's beautiful. And then she sent me 3 project bags that she made herself out of fabric that she collected in her she goes to a lot of thrift stores and garage sales kind of stuff. So it was made with fabric that except for one of them was fabric that she got at the store, but the rest were fabrics that she got at secondhand. First, there's this fall one. Look how cute that is. I think this was the one that was fabric from the store. Oh, it's beautiful. They're lined inside. And then there's this Christmas one with fabric from she said she thinks this fabric is from the 80s and 90s. And I could totally see this being 80s and 90s fabric. It came as a panel, I'm sure. With this beautiful scissor fob as well. Here's the inside fabric. And of course, I already put a project in there. That's one of my new starts, so I'll show you that in a minute. And then, oh, this one. This fabric looks like 70s to me. This looks like my childhood. I love these colors. I love this aesthetic, this design. The most wonderful retro fabric find from wherever she found it. It makes the most beautiful bag. Polka dot on the inside. Thank you, Susan. I love them. Love them. And I'm going to put them to good use. Okay, I think, yes, okay, that's all my business and stitchy kindness. Okay, we'll move on to fully finished objects, which I think you should all, don't faint, because I've actually fully finished something. Give me a round of applause wherever you are, because I hardly ever get to it, but I'm so excited to start to get to some of my, now that I'm retired, some of my fully finishing, because it's not my favorite thing. But now I have time to, work on it a little bit at a time. Okay, like 10 years ago, maybe-ish, Shepherd's Bush did a collection called A Shepherd's Fold. And it was a club that you joined, and then they sent you a project every month or every so often that went with it. And the first part was this round top called a full heart that went on a shaker box, a lone elm box that was specially painted purple. It was their plum color because it went with, that's their favorite color. Shepherd's Bush, I think. Their favorite color has got to be purple. They have a lot of purple in their designs. So that was the first part. I didn't know about it then. I didn't participate. And then they had several other pieces that came out that they sent to the people in the club like every month or something. These were all the different pieces that came out. So there was one called Reach, just the ruler holder. One called Goodness and Grace, which was a pin pillow. One called Cherish Life, which is a needle book. One called My Home Scissor Fob, which looks like this. And then Fear Not Needle Roll, which looks like this. And then they had several other, if you were in the club, you got a couple of other things like this waxer, this needle threader, the ruler for the, and then these sheep thread bobbins made out of mother of pearl. Okay, so I didn't know about it the year it happened, but a couple of years later, I ran across someone who was working on it and decided I wanted to do it too. All of these came as kits. They came with the fabric and the floss and everything from Shepherd's Bush and everything you need to finish it. And at that time, I went to Shepherd's Bush. It's one of my local stores. It's just up in Ogden, about an hour and a half from me. And I asked about it, and they still had all of those kits in stock. So I bought each kit separately. And then they also had some of the stuff that went with it, like the little sheep waxer and the thread bobbins and the threader and stuff still available. So I purchased them as well at the same time. So I bought it all at the same time. They were all separate kits. And then you may remember that I worked on them forever. I think I finished up the last small, gosh, like 2 years ago. It was on my Mania board, I believe, to finish that up, and I finished it, finished the stitching on all of them, and actually did all the fully finishing on it except the box lid, because I didn't have a box to put it on. And I kept thinking I'd get one, and I kept thinking I'd get one, and then I never did. And then I finally got a box, which I've owned for, that I bought secondhand on Etsy, that I've owned for a year. And just barely, this last couple weeks, actually put the top on the box so that I could finally show it to you as a fully finished object. So here's my top, which I realized after I put it together, on this box lid that I forgot to put the buttons on. I forgot to sew the little buttons on that came with it. So I think I'm just going to, I'm not going to take this all apart. I think I will just maybe glue them on, glue the buttons. So cute. Here is the Fear Not needle roll. Here is the Reach ruler holder with the ruler in it. I don't know if Shepherd's Bush still has all of these kits. You would have to ask them. A lot of times they do have their old stuff because they are the designers and they can just put it together for you, but you'd have to ask. This is the pin pillow. It came with the fabric, the wool fabric for the back, and it came with the pins and the ribbon and everything, the beads to finish it. It's got a beaded ruching finish. This is the needle book, Cherish Life. Came with the fabric for the inside and this flower button. And then this is the scissor fob. Which also has a beaded ruching finish. I'd have to say that a beaded ruching finish is not my favorite. It takes forever. And I'm always trying to figure out the ribbon is too much or too little, or I've looped it too far, I didn't loop it enough. I'm sure I get better with practice. And then here's my, I left him in the package. Here's my very cute sheep waxer. The buttons that I didn't put on the top that I will. Here's the needle thread bobbins, the sheep thread bobbins, the needle threader, and then they also had this needle threader that with a sheep on it, and I just thought it was cute and bought it as well at the time. So gosh, I probably bought all of these a good 6 years ago at least. Could have been 8 years ago. So I'm sorry, I honestly don't know if they still have any of these. And then they all fit in this box, this retro secondhand Quaker box. And then I put the lid on top. So proud of myself for actually finishing that project. Okay, and then you may recall that my dad made this frame for this piece. This is called Rocky Mountain Quaker. It's by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. She was the guest designer at Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat in Casper, Wyoming a year ago. So a year ago, September. And that was our retreat piece that we received. And my dad loves being outside, loves being in the mountains. We were out in the mountains every weekend as I was growing up almost. He loves to fish, loves to just hike and be out in nature, and I do too. I just thought this looked so much like Utah and where I grew up and all the places that I'd been to with my parents and my brothers. I asked him to make me a frame for it. This frame is made out of mountain mahogany or juniper wood that from the mountains around here. My dad likes to collect pieces of dead wood and then use them in his wood shop. And I finally got it framed. Actually pinned and laced, and I have a piece of paper now to glue on the back of it. Like I'm all professional. And then he also, I asked him to make a frame for Lost No More, which I finished several months ago, sometime last year, I can't remember. And he made this frame for me out of oak, also from the local mountains, from his Strawberry River property, a piece of oak. And I pinned and laced it, and then I took it to Hobby Lobby with the frame, and they cut a piece of glass for me and put it all together for me. And I just think it turned out so amazing. They put the hanger on the back and the little rubber thing so it doesn't bang on the wall. Did a fabulous job. All right, those are my 3 fully finished objects. And then I have 3 finished objects that I finished the stitching. I guess this one's fully finished because it just pops into the frame. So I had 4 fully finishes. This one is a Mill Hill Buttons and Beads called Summer Fruit. I started it during May. You can see all the beads that are on there. I love all the beads in the pineapple. A very 3D effect. So that was fun. I finished stitching Summer by Twin Peak Primitives. It's on 46 count Flawn by Bestitch Me. The called for DMC, 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. And then I also finished Jardin Privé. Oh, Fil de Nichois. Oh, Fil de Nichois. That's what it is. From birdhouse to birdhouse. It was a stitch along I did with some local friends as well as many of you. We started it last October. Finished it this October was our plan. We did 1 birdhouse a month. If you're still working on it, that is fine. It's on 46 count Oatmeal by, was it Mystic Stitch? I can't remember. It'll be in the description box. Oh, I think it was Fiber on a Whim. Oatmeal by Fiber on a Whim. All right, those were my 3 finishes. Okay, so now I have 4. I should have 4 new starts. Oh, I do. I have 4 new starts. Okay, one of them's in this really cute Christmas bag. I started all 4 of these at the Crazy Woman Retreat next to the Crazy Woman River in Casper, Wyoming in September. That retreat's put on by Misty Connolly. She's only on Instagram if you're interested in signing up for any of her retreats. M. Connolly on Instagram. I'll put that in the description box below. My good friend Jenny is the designer behind Cricklewood Crossing, and she is coming out with a series of pieces about Christmas songs. And the first one in the series is Hark the Herald, Angels Sing, and it looks like this. She has them all designed. I think I have seen pictures of all of the designs and models of at least 4 of them. They are gorgeous. Gorgeous. I'm stitching mine on, I can't remember the name of the fabric, but I will put it in the description box. I'm pretty sure I bought it at the retreat. Is there a card in here? There is. It's Forbidden Fiber Company Bungalow. That's right. I bought this as a kit from Jenny. That was the called for fabric, and it came with it. And it is 40 count. 40 count bungalow by Forbidden Fiber. And I'm using the called for colors, except I did change. This gold was like a 732 or 733, one of those, a greenish gold. And I changed it to more of a gold, just because I preferred that. It came with a pack from Forbidden Fiber Company's floss, which is the called for floss, Christmas ivy, frankincense, grasshopper, poinsettia. And then I changed the white to, I think it called for DMC white. There was a couple of DMC colors that it called for. I'm using Crescent Colors Bamboo, Weeks Dyeworks Conch for the skin on the angel, Gentle Arts Glass Slipper for the smoke, a little bit of smoke on the little house, Weeks Dyeworks Curry, that's what I'm using for the yellow. And then Forbidden Fiber Company also calls for Black Magic and Chipmunk. So those are the colors that I'm using. Counting Puddles was the guest designer at the retreat. And I have been wanting to start this for a while, and I had a couple friends that also wanted to start it, so we started it at the retreat. Emily and Amy. It's called Botanical Wedding Sampler. Comes with a full alphabet so you can personalize it. I'm using the called for DMC. And this is what I have so far. It's all DMC. And I will put what fabric it's on in the description box because I can't remember. But I'm sure I wrote it down. This was a bag I purchased that you could pre-purchase before the retreat, and then they gave it to you at the retreat. And this is our retreat piece, called Wild and Free by Counting Puddles. She's so nice. My granddaughter Lila, so excited about this piece. It calls for DMC. Mine is on Live and Die in LA, 32 count aquatic, which is what came, the fabric that came with it. Oh, I can't remember which way is up. I think this way. I got started on those flowers right in the middle on that beautiful horse. And we also received the fabric and the floss to stitch. And the last new start is from Brenda Gervais' Autumn in Baltimore. I am just doing this little part of it for a small, for the Smalls fundraiser at the Shepherd's Bush Retreat in Park City in a week or two, week and a half. Whoa. This is what I have so far. It's 1/1 on 32 count, I think. No, 28 count. It's 1/1 on 28 count. Fog. 28 count fog by Picture This Plus. And I think I'm going to make it into a little pillow. All right. Now to all the projects. Okay, only 6 this time. 6 other projects that I worked on that weren't any of those that I already showed you. This is Halloween Sampler by Teresa Kogut in her Halloween book. She also sells a digital version of this sampler on her Patreon. And maybe on her Etsy website now. Mine is on 46 count Dark Mountain by XJU Designs. And that is where it is. Finished that Halloween word in the middle. So excited. Been doing 1 cat a month on the border and the flowers as well as I go. Called for flosses 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. Where is it? This one is called Kingdom of Books. I bought it as a kit from Andriana, Andrianna. I didn't do it on the kit fabric, but I am using the kit flosses. I chose an 18 count Ada that I bought on Etsy that is called Caramel Cream from Victorian Rose Needle Arts, I believe. That is similar to this background color, so I am not stitching that background wood, and I'm not stitching this brown shelf under here, except for like 2 rows right under the books so that they have an anchor. And just 1 row around the top of the houses of this background so that the white detail on the top of the houses shows up. My friend Sharon and I have been doing this as a stitch along for 4 years. It was originally going to be a 3-year stitch along, but it turned into a 4-year stitch along because we took a break. Our goal was a half of a book a month. And then we divided the middle part into several sections, several months. So I finished this red book and did the first half of this brown book, and then there is just 1 more green book right here. So this will be the October section, this will be the November section, and this will be the December section, and then it will be finished. That one has been so fun. And a fan favorite, I think. I worked on Spring Creek Fever by Elsa Williams. I bought it as a kit. It's an out-of-print kit on Etsy from I was thinking this had a date on it. Does it not? Nope. A long time ago. My dad made a frame with some gorgeous wood from the mountains on it. And it was, I wanted a pattern that would fit on it, that would look good on it, and I found this one, which will be the perfect size. I didn't do it on the kit fabric because I needed it on a smaller count fabric to fit on that frame. I am using the kit floss. Mine is on 40 count All the Things by Mystic Fabrics. And I'm using 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. The kit calls for 2 strands of floss on 14 count, I believe, is what it came with. Might have been 16 count. So there are some blended threads. So when there's a blended thread, I use 1 strand of each color, and then I just do a half cross with the 2 strands. Otherwise, I'm doing 1 strand of floss with a full cross over 2 threads. And I finished the Fisherman. So excited. I divided this into 12 sections because I really wanted to finish it by the end of the year. So I have 3 more sections to go. Beautiful piece. Do I have a printout of the whole thing? Oh, yep, there it is. This is by Historical Sampler Company, the Happy Halloween Stitch Along. It was a mystery stitch along, but all the parts have been released now. You can still purchase it from their website, the whole pattern. They sent me the fabric and floss to stitch it. I chose the linen. They had a linen or an Aida. I used the fabric and the floss that they sent me, the DMC floss. This is what I have so far. I'm going to finish this up in the next week or 2 before I start on the Robin stitch along. Such a cute one, and so fun for October. It was 32 count linen, 2 strands of floss over 2 fabric threads, is what it called for, and that's what I'm doing. Oh, I worked on this one, I forgot. This one's not on my list, so this makes 7. This one is Retour au Chalet by Madame Laffy. I believe it translates to Return to the Cabin. It is on 46 count Everything Else by Mystic Fabrics. And I'm using the called for DMC floss. Oh, and I worked right here on that middle heart. Beautiful pattern. 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. This is the Hometown Stitch Along by Teresa Kogut. It's part of her, a piece comes out every month. It's a 2-year Stitch Along, but you have to be in her Patreon Tier 4 group to get these charts. I'm sure she'll release the whole thing eventually to the public. Mine is on 46 Count Buttercream by Lakeside Linens. I'm using the called for colors, DMC. I did use one overdyed Indian Summer thread. One strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. That one is so fun. I've enjoyed that. I'm glad it goes for a whole nother year. And then I think the last one is the Nativity Trilogy ornament that I started in May. Button and beads. No, not button and beads, just Nativity Trilogy. I have all the patterns for these and have never started them. So I decided it was time. Oh, my grandkids were coming yesterday. And the doorbell rang and I threw it all in the bag in a big mess. I'm working on the cow. You can see the outline of the cow. And baby Jesus is done in the middle, except for the beads and back stitching. All right, that's all the whips. So we'll go on to things that I have purchased and the stuff I got at the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat. My very good friend, Emily, has started selling bags. Her company is called Emily Michelle. And she sells on Instagram. Her Instagram name is I'd Rather Be Cross Stitching. And the I'd is just ID. I'd Rather Be Cross Stitching, Emily Michelle. So she sells these square bottom project bags. I bought this from her at the retreat. It is so beautiful. It has this fabulous tote handle. It's quilted, lined inside. Beautiful bags. Best quality. Oh my goodness. The nice zipper. And then she also sells these tote bags, which she sold at the retreat. She has them in several different, she does them in several different kinds of fabrics. You just have to watch her Instagram account. Came with this zipper pouch. I love this bag because you can stuff, I can stuff 6 project bags in here. They just sit in there so nicely, the big bags that I use. And then it has a pocket on either end, very sturdy handles, beautiful stitching, impeccable stitching. It's all quilted, the most beautiful bags. Thank you, Emily, for making these gorgeous bags and letting us buy them. on the freebie table at the retreat, which I try to avoid, but it just caught me one day, was this beautiful Bucilla kit with all the floss in it. It doesn't have the fabric, but it has the floss, so that's fine. This Side of Heaven by Bucilla from 1992. And then there was this Lenarte kit sitting there, and I had to have that. I love Lenarte. Has the floss in it. This one again does not have the fabric, but it has the floss, so that's fine. This Hirschner pattern is so cute, called Spring House Sampler Laptop Quilt. And then I had lots of stitchy kindness, people giving me things. Cindy Sorley of Stitchery Express was the pop-up store there. I bought lots of things like, oh, I just need this color of floss. Oh, I need to convert this DMC to an overdyed. Oh, because she brought all of her gentle arts in her week's dye work. So it was great. You could sit there and just look for a certain color or convert, or she gave me this, all of us one of these little bags. I got this crocheted. You put a cup on it. It has a name. I can't think of it. Coaster. These have the rubber backing on them when your needle is stuck and you can't get a hold of it to pull it out. So this is like a needle grabber. This is to put in your dryer to help with the static electricity. My table mate gave us these beautiful little gift bags. Has a blessing. A waxer, some wonder clips, scissors, a tape measure, in all my favorite colors. These. And it had chocolate in it, but I ate those. My other table mate gave us these wonderful charms, fobs. Mine says Lucky Duck. A marker from Emily Michelle. I bought some bags from Jordan Orlandi, also a very good friend of mine. It had beautiful bags there for sale, project bags. She has an Etsy store. Jordy's Handmade, Jordys, Handmade on Etsy. But I gave them to my daughter-in-law and her friend, so I don't have them here to show you. They were gifts. Isn't that cute? On a nail file. My daughter-in-law Hannah gave me a needle minder, and I also got this cute needle minder. A cute tag. Oh, and my friend Ray made these cute fobs with the loose things inside that shake around. Okay. I think that is all the things. As for plans, I'm going to keep working on, oh, where is... How did I skip that one? I skipped the Fabulous Houses Stitch Along. I was going to say, my plans are to get caught up, stay caught up on all my stitch-alongs. I am not caught up on this one, but I'm working on it regularly. This is by Cottage Garden Samplings. It's a year-long series called the Fabulous Houses. This is number 7, the house barn. We're now up to number 10, which was the fairy house, which just barely came out. I just got that a week ago in the mail. Number 11 is the haunted house, which is, there's a picture of it out on the internet now on their Instagram and everywhere, and shops that are having you pre-order. The shops are probably getting it about right now. I'll get it in a week or so too. So I need to get hopping on this one. Mine is on the called for fabric, which is Fox and Rabbit prehistoric, but it's not the called for count. The called for count is 40 minus 46. But it's a neutral gray color. And there are so many neutral grays that I know prehistoric is impossible to find right now. But it would look good on so many different neutral grays. All right, this is what I have so far. The first 6 are completely done. 7, the barn, I just need to finish filling in that red. 8, the lighthouse, it just needs the other side done. It's just missing the whale's tail and the pirate ship that sits on the whale's tail. Oh, and I need to finish filling in this water. Number 9 is the floating house. It only has this much done. And then I started the fairy house right here. Just got the chimney and some of the part of the roof, some purple flowers. My rule was that as soon as I have I'm on a drop ship program from the Silver Needle, so they send me the pattern every month when they get it. So as soon as it shows up to my house in the mail, then I start that square that day. And then I keep working on it for an hour every day of I try to get it out every day and work on it for about an hour at least on the current house. Excuse me. And then when I have time, I go back and work on the other ones that aren't done yet. So I'll keep working on that. I'm guessing the haunted house is going to show up any minute, and then I'll need to start that one. And then there's only one more after that because it started in November of last year. And then I'll work on the section on Spring Creek Fever, the section on, I'll finish up Happy Halloween. A section on the Halloween sampler. We'll start another stitch along in a couple weeks, the new October to October stitch along. I know there's another stitch along in there I'm missing somewhere, but I can't think of it. I'll try keep up on all the stitch alongs. And then I have some fall pieces that I'm excited to get out and work on. Autumn Montage by Jan Stever. My version is the Jan Lynn kit. It's on 36 count linen that I dyed myself with the kit floss, 2/2. I think this one has the least done on it. I have all the seasons started. This one needs some love. This is the Thankful bag from Shepherd's Bush. It was a gift from my good friend. All right, whatever. And I have this much done. I started it in May. And I'd really like to finish that this month. That shouldn't be too bad at all to finish. This is Give Thanks by Glendon Place. I believe I also started this one in May. There's not a project card in there. Using the called for specialty flosses. That's what I have so far, right in the middle. This looks like 32 count linen. Do you know what that is? That is Vintage Country Mocha. 32 count Vintage Country Mocha, which might be the called for fabric. And all the called for specialty flosses and beads. That one has beads on it. This is a Heaven and Earth design called Autumn. I call it Autumn Cat. This is what I have so far, but I'm excited to get that out and work on it. 25 count moss even weave, 1/1 with the called for DMC. Oh, and Arcade. This one feels like a fall piece because of the fall colors. R-K-A-D-E, Arcade by Long Dog Samplers. Mine is on 40 count Picture This Plus Conifer, and I'm using Picture This, or Silks For You, Silks PR114. And then the little creamy sage green accent color is also Silks For You, but I don't know what the number is. And that's what I have so far on that one. So those are all the fall pieces that I'm planning on pulling out and working on in the next few months. I have the Shepherd's Bush Retreat in Park City. That starts the 14th, I think. And then the StitchWest Retreat towards the end of the month in Salt Lake City. And then I'm done with retreats for this year. We'll have another one until next spring sometime. And those are my plans. I hope you all have a fabulous day. Get some stitching in. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.